everyone. Welcome to Sudbury Politics, the show, the Christmas special. I'm Rachel Adrians, here with my co-host, Richard Eberhardt. And, oh, wait, where's Jeff?
Who knows? He disappears all the time.
So unreliable. Well, I guess this evening we have the lovely director Danielle here for her first episode instead to sub in.
Welcome.
Thank
we do
you.
this thing with a...
Happy.
Over.
How does it feel, Rich?
Yeah, that's how it feels. I know. So if this is the first time tuning in, welcome to Sudbury Politics, the show. It's our Christmas special. Quick intro on us. Well, usually Jeff McIntyre is here. He's not here tonight, unfortunately, but between Rachel and Jeff and I, we have extensive experience in politics here at Sudbury at all the major levels, and we're happy to share it with you on this happy little show of ours. We try to be balanced, even though we come from our own political backgrounds, and our opinions are our own. But really, we just want to share them with you and have some fun together. After all, it is Christmas, and you never know when a special guest might arrive. It is Christmas time. What's that? What's that sound? It's Santa Claus!
I brought along a little Christmas miracle.
Oh, that's what we're looking for.
Okay. Whatever could that be?
Well, welcome, Santa. How was your trip down from, the roof?
It was a lovely ride. I had a hard time finding the fireplace.
Well, there's never enough parking in downtown Sudbury.
Oh, you're getting cool.
Pass that along to the director.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Santa.
So you say this is the Christmas miracle?
This is the Christmas
Well,
miracle.
ho, ho, ho.
Oh, cheers.
Oh,
A
Well
miracle
done,
indeed.
Santa.
pretty good.
Woo!
It's a Christmas miracle.
Indeed it is.
So to start things off, the first segment that we're going to dive into this evening is called Naughty and Nice. So I'll let Danielle kind of explain that piece.
Okay, so the name of the game is Naughty and Nice. So I've taken a step out from behind the director's chair, and instead of making faces at them from that side of the table, I'm going to do it from this side of the table and get in the game a little bit myself. So I'm going to toss out some scenarios. We're going to do a bit of a year in review. And I'm going to ask you guys whether it was a naughty or a nice thing that happened. So we've got a few different ones to toss out. So...
And we should show off these. We have to vote. We don't know what she's going to say, so we will vote in real time whether it was naughty or nice.
One more time.
Which one?
Naughty.
Nice.
Off my face.
All right, so
Ooh.
let's get the ball rolling. Let's start with Trudeau's cabinet picks, and in particular, the introduction of regional advisors / ministers. Do we think? Okay.
Nice.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Naughty. Okay.
I'm going to go with
two
naughty.
nices and a naughty.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so I don't think that putting in parliamentary secretaries for the regional economic development positions like FedNor is enough to balance the folks that didn't get into cabinet that should have been, and maybe some of the positions that were created, like what's the minister for middle class prosperity. We could have probably had minister for regional participation or something also equally vacuous that would have maybe actually had something useful to do. So naughty, but am I the dissenting vote?
You're the dissenting.
You
All
are.
right. On the nice side, we've got a lot of division in the country. Having some regional voices back at the cabinet table, I think, is important. Having that regional economic development allows areas like Alberta to have a voice when they probably wouldn't have otherwise.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go with Paul not being put into cabinet.
Yeah, we'll go naughty. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, we in Sudbury want to be at the table. I think it's pretty straightforward.
And the fact that there was no one chosen from Northern Ontario as well.
But they did just make Anthony Rota the speaker.
Correct.
Because the speaker has a lot of power.
Yeah, just ask Sheer.
Zing!
You guys let me out from behind.
Yeah.
Let's remember this for next time.
Santa, what have you done?
All
What do you got for
right.
us?
So on that one, let's move over to the throne speech. Today's throne speech. What do we think about it?
I'm gonna show the backside that Danielle doesn't want me to see with the black tape on it because it's sort of like. Meh.
Why don't you just hold up two paddles like Jeff instead of flaunting the bad creativity on the back?
I think it's naughty and nice because I think Trudeau kind of went with what Canadians expected, that he would go along with this NDP coalition government, and I think a lot of people voted based on that idea. The throne speech leaned a lot more towards working with the NDP than it did with other parties. So I think it made a lot of sense.
Oh, but the NDP isn't going to support it automatically. But the Bloc is, so there's no impetus at all for the Liberals to change course on this throne speech. So I would just say tape together with a black piece of electrical tape. What do you got?
Okay. What's going on in the West? Brexit, Western Canada separation. What do you think? Nice. Oh, dissenter again.
Naughty.
Care to explain? Someone.
Do you want to dissent first, or?
Well, I mean, I'm into, mitigating climate change, and the West doesn't seem to care about that at all. And so my opinion is that we could alienate the West a little bit more, and we'd probably be better off.
I am just not a Wexit fan, and that's why I voted naughty.
Team Naughty!
Team Wexit.
Okay, on that uncomfortable note. Okay, last one. The showdown over the GSTC and the outcome.
Oh.
Well, outcome.
Well, the showdown.
We never should have been there.
The showdown, I would say, not it.
We never should have been there. The outcome is just what it should have been from the start. Why were we having this discussion? We had a consultant that does a lot of good jobs in putting together economic development reports and governance that had just put a report out, and to try and slide under while that was in process and skip it, that's definitely naughty.
I mean, the only thing I would say about it, contrarily wise, and I couldn't really decide because if this wasn't strategically done as a way to fight against the governance review that happened within the GSTC, that's what it became. And to me, it looks like the GSTC backed away from a lot of the things that were in that report, and that the council is going to retain quite a strong amount of control over the GSTC going forward. That's my read on it, and if that's what the mayor wanted, that's what he got.
They were always going to have that control, but look at all of the projects that he put at risk, right? There was private funding that was coming into the GSDC to help startups. There was all of these programs that were in the middle that by tossing it out, you were putting all of those things at risk. So there was no point going down that road. If you wanted to have a discussion with it, you could have a discussion with the paper in front of the public, not do it before that paper went public.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks,
that note.
Danielle, for coming. You can go to the other side of the camera now and glare at us.
Far more comfortable doing that.
See you later in the North Pole.
See you, Santa. And thank you.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Thank you for the excellent signs director, Danielle.
They
all
are
the credit.
nice.
They're
They're nice and naughty. All right.
All right. Well, the next segment is called Reindeer Games. It's sort of like our standard mixing it up on big topics, except this year is coming to an end, and we're looking ahead to 2020. So really focusing on what are some of the big issues going to be taking us through? And when we look ahead to December 2020, where are we going to be on some of these big issues? And I want to start with, I think, one of the biggest ones in our city, and that is by this time next year, will the KED be dead? Jeff?
Santa?
Santa?
Ho, ho, ho. The KED's not moving at all this year. It's going to a Superior Court challenge. That's going to go one of two ways. If it's won, it's over. There's no more KED. If the Superior Court challenge is lost, then it still goes to LPAT. Once LPAT's done, or once LPAT starts in May, there's 10 months for LPAT to return a decision in their timeline. So you could already be into the following year. And then, should LPAT return it in a way that the city has an option to fix what they've proposed, that goes back to a planning hearing. That planning hearing is just like any other planning hearing, and then that can be appealed as well. So this could go on for some time. I don't know if that Jeff guy that's here would be appealing it again, but I do know there's a strong portion of the community that would be more than willing to continue the fight.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say, given the process that the appeal has to undergo, that the KED issue will in fact be dead for a while anyways, and quite likely this could be something that the next group of candidates going into the next municipal election are potentially looking at as an issue in that regard, as to whether that'll be a hot topic for them in the for or against. And we'll see if it kind of goes that far.
But, I mean, we know some of these councillors are extremely sharp. And they can see the writing on the wall on some of this stuff. Do they want to leave this hanging around their necks? Are people going to start asking questions, their constituents, about, hey, what's going on with this thing? If it sits and doesn't move for another 12 months, doesn't anybody think about cutting this project loose? Rachel?
Good question.
Ho, 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 why wait?
Right. Well, I mean, so that's sort of where I would, is that somebody is going to start getting antsy, and we already know that the project isn't 100% popular. So if people are going to start questioning its forward momentum, wondering if it's ever going to be built, and it's holding everything else back, maybe it's time to move on. By this time next year, if it hasn't moved anywhere, I don't know if it's going to be dead or not, but it's going to sure be on its last legs.
Well, and I think you're right. I think you're right in the sense that that question or that debate will come up as to pulling the plug and making it completely dead, because I think Sudburyans are tired of it dragging, and the money and the time and the resources that are being spent to fight it, and that Jeff guy, we're tired of it.
So nice. Love that Jeff guy.
He's bolted.
Speaking of dragging along, the Ontario Liberal Party is apparently having a leadership race.
Yes.
I assume there's people running in it. I've heard some names that are vaguely familiar. What's that going to mean to the Ford government, having a Liberal Party with a new leader?
Yeah, well, to give a bit more context as to where that leadership race is at and the implications associated with it. So there are 6 contestants that are in the leadership race right now, and that'll be decided next spring. We do have a provincial Liberal EDA in Sudbury, a riding association. That being said, I don't believe, it's my understanding they haven't formally met in a couple of years, maybe 2.5 years or so. So they would be able to send delegates to the convention to choose who would be leader of the party. And as well, Laurentian, they have a Young Liberals Club. They would be able to send delegates there as well.
So it's a delegated convention, like old school.
It is. Yes.
Right? It was one of the last, like most of the federal parties, well, I think all of the federal parties have gone to a one-member, one-vote system. There's a few holdouts, obviously, provincially. The Ontario Liberals are one of them, so there's going to be a convention sometime in March. Jeff, Santa likes those. I mean,
Santa loves delegated conventions.
They're fun to watch.
Santa approves.
They're fun to watch, but is this one going to be fun to watch? Because it's going to be kind of bad.
So yeah, I think there'll be what I've heard about 3,500 people that they're hoping to send there. You know, in terms of the membership, the party's not doing very well in that regard with their numbers. I know they're at about 10,000 members. I think the front runner of the leadership race looks like Stephen Del Duca, I believe, at this point, and he's brought the membership up. He raked in about 14,000 himself, so he's almost he's made a significant dent in increasing the party membership. But the rest of them, I think the second place was about 8,000. The rest of them aren't doing as well. They have been coming to Sudbury. I've heard about 4 of the 6 have come.
It's news to me.
Yeah.
And that's my point.
I haven't heard anything about that at all.
Well, the resident Liberal struggled to remember his name, so, you know.
Yes, not provincially involved.
So this is one of those cases where, you know, the premier himself is extremely unpopular. The Liberal Party is struggling to be noticed. And the official opposition, New Democrats, are not growing their market share as far as political vote intention goes. So does everyone just stay home in 2 years? What happens? Stephen Del Duca, let's say he is the leader of the Liberal Party. Is he a serious contender against Doug Ford to win? Are we looking at another Doug Ford government? Or can the NDP pull themselves together? Jeff, what do you think?
Hey, Trudeau came from third to first, right?
Yeah.
Now, Trudeau had a little bit more show than any of these folks have had, and he had some pre-advantage. But he also wasn't running against somebody as hated as Doug Ford. You know,
Right.
Harper wasn't popular.
Yeah, Harper was very unpopular.
But he wasn't Doug Ford unpopular. And, you know, there is the opportunity for him to take that same kind of playbook, run a roadshow for 2 years, not spend a lot of time in Parliament, because what's he going to do without a party?
Yeah.
And just go preach the message.
But he also doesn't
door to
have.
door.
He's not going to have those party resources to do that with, right? I mean, like, there's a lot of things you rest on when you're an official party that you can do as a leader of that party, and budgets and that sort of thing. And Del Duca and the Liberals, if he is the leader, isn't going to be able to do that. And some of these other guys, Kate Graham, Alvin Trejo. They're very progressive. They're sort of transformative in the Liberal Party sense, which means they're not going to win. You know, are just paving the way for a Del Duca to take over. That's going to run the same old Liberal playbook.
But money buys momentum, and momentum buys money, right?
Yeah.
If he can get a small snowball running, and if he can get enough people that are upset with Ford, and if Horwath wants to stay in the shadows and not make... There's a vacuum there, and the media is looking for somebody to talk to. There just doesn't seem to be any strong, regular opposition to Ford right now, and the media is looking for it.
Yeah, and like you're saying, that drive, kind of, if he can prove that. I know Del Duca's been to Sudbury 4 times. He's the only one that's come this month. Of course, we didn't hear about it. But that being said, you know, if he can kind of pull ahead and fill that gap of, you know, the people that are upset with Ford, then there might be potential.
Yeah, so Del Duca's probably going to win, right? So this time next year, Del Duca will be the liberal leader. The question is, are they going to be at 20% or are they going to be at 30%? Who's going to, like, if it's a horse race, they can't all be at 20%. Somebody's got to be higher than that. Is anyone moving? Do the Conservatives consolidate their support and maybe start creeping back up towards majority status? Like, I think the question marks are really on the NDP because they're the ones that'll be paving the way for the Liberals to win.
Yeah, a lot of balls in the air.
Yeah.
All right.
So, with that being said, as we know what's going on federally, so Andrew Scheer's quite under fire right now. Do you think, Richard, that he'll survive? Do you think the Liberals are going to call an early election? What does that look like to you going into the new year?
So the throne speech was today, right?
Right.
And it's pretty clear that Andrew Scheer's still campaigning for something. I think he's campaigning for his job as the leader of the Conservative Party more than he claims to be campaigning for Prime Minister. But we know that in a minority parliament, it's going to be all campaign all the time for the next 2 years. I think Scheer's in big trouble because he is not cut out for opposition in a minority status. And he has to make a really hard decision, and I honestly don't know what I would do in his place, is to appease 53 of his MPs, half of his caucus, that come from the massive block between Manitoba and BC, right? He can't, it's just like Trudeau in the East, who won every seat east of Quebec last time, couldn't possibly win any more. Well, neither can Andrew Scheer win any more seats in the West. He's got them all already. So he's stuck pandering to the West. You know how I feel about that because I already talked about it. Meanwhile, the rest of the country's moving on, and Trudeau has a real opportunity to capture back seats that Andrew Scheer is putting up for grabs in Eastern Canada. So we could very well be an election by this time next year.
Yeah. Like, with Scheer, what happens in the West doesn't really matter. He's got such a strong base there. He could really screw it up in the West, and he's still going to win. Like, he is so strong in the West right now, it won't matter. So he's going to start looking at, how do I find support in Quebec? How do I find support in Ontario? I don't think he's got the support in Ontario, so he's got to hope for some kind of political mess between the provincial government and the federal bloc in Quebec. I don't see that happening as well. I think the worst thing that can happen to the Conservative Party is that Scheer sticks around. He's not going to grow support. He's already burnt it. If he tries to flip now, it's going to seem disingenuous. And even if he sneaks it through, there's just too much obvious opposition in his own party that he's going to divide himself, and you're going to see another, Reform Party burn out of that, probably in Ontario, where the red Tories start saying, we're done. We're not, we want the old PCs back.
Rachel, what do you think?
Yeah, I was going to add to that and say I think the social issues has really killed Scheer. And I think if the Liberals can kind of keep going with the way they've been heading with the social issues further away from Scheer, I think, with the timing of the election, they'll call it when they're at their peak. And obviously that's not going to do any favors for Scheer. So.
Well, and you saw, this came out a couple of days ago about the MP from Cornwall area, right? He's a gay man, very highly accomplished municipal politician at 35. Yeah. Wonder kid out there. People love him apparently, and all kinds of experience. Could have made an excellent shadow cabinet posting in 3 or 4 different areas to address some of these question marks that keep circulating about Scheer's social conservatism, which is completely offside, both with the local conservatives, and we talked to them about this during the campaign, insisting to us that they are not socially conservatives at all, but really progressive conservatives, and a lot of the rest of the party in central Canada, again, the benefit of the West, which has got more social conservatism at its heart, and they can, at best, hold the seats they have in those places. They can't gain. There's no path to victory for Andrew Scheer right now. Yeah, your regular host Jeff made the stupid prediction that it's going to go 4 years. But there is Santa, you let him know. No bloody way he expected Scheer to screw the pooch so bad, so fast, and for the Conservative Party just to throw the knives at themselves. So
That guy was wrong.
We really should call up the local conservatives and talk to them.
Yes.
And see what they think about this, and maybe something we do in the new year.
I was gonna say, are you trying to get Jeff back on the show? Because
It's a
maybe
Christmas miracle.
Oh.
Well, Santa, did you bring anything for us?
I did.
Presents.
All the way from the North Pole.
Wow!
Santa brought his sack.
Oh!
That is.
You just
that sounded
destroyed my
heavy.
sign.
What is in there? Oh well,
Jeez.
they're taped together.
We've got some
They're
presents.
taped together.
They're well-built signs.
All right, so you got some presents in
That's
there.
so fair.
Oh.
So I think that this is half and half, right? I mean, there's some slag in here. And
I don't know. We'll have to go into the bag.
some stacked beer. So let's see. What were the gifts for?
Slag.
Slag.
Justin Trudeau.
Oh, slag for Justin.
Oh, well, I'm sure many have heard of the hot mic incident this week with the world leaders. In light of that, I'd give slag to Justin for publicly bashing Trump. And with that being said as well, what else is in here?
Okay, what else is in here? Yeah, we had some technical.
Oh!
A stack.
A local
stack.
beer. At the same time, I'd give that to Justin for publicly bashing Trump with all the world leaders. Well,
That's a Panache IPA.
I'll
Send
give
it
this to
Ottawa right away.
Santa and
beautiful.
this to myself. Richard?
All right, let's see what we got here. All right. Oh, here's one. Oh my gosh, it's a piece of slag. And it's for Michael Vagnini, the Counselor of Ward 2. Oh, let me see. Yes, that's right. It's for skipping all the budget deliberations and leaving the residents of Ward 2 without any representation for this year's city budget, just because his motion on bottom-up budgeting was defeated. Well, lots of slag in Ward 2, so I don't think it's going to be adding much to his collection. And I found this is a sour IPA. That is some. That's expansion.
Ooh, Ward 2.
Right, and that's right. And this is for Robert Kerwin, the Counselor for Ward 5, for helping to kill the Ked. So, Merry Christmas, Counselor Kerwin, and thanks so much for that. All right, Santa, what do you got here?
Oh.
That Jeff guy's not going to like that.
Well, he's not here.
Well,
Santa
I think
will
I've got something in here for Andrea Horwath.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Is it good or bad?
I have a big chunk of slag
Oh.
for being completely irrelevant while her opposition is in the worst shape possible. Ford's sitting at, 20%, 30% popularity, and she just can't get a headline. She's got to start playing ball. And let's see what else I've got in here. Oh, I've got a Stack Impact Amber Ale.
Ooh.
That looks delicious. I'm going to give that one to Don Cherry. I'm going to give that to Don Cherry to go enjoy his retirement.
Oh, Santa.
Wow. Thank you, Santa. And thank you. It was so nice to have you here for our naughty Christmas special.
Have a happy holiday and a happy new year. We enjoyed our time with you this year, and we'll see you next year.
Yeah, we're going to take a break over the Christmas holidays, and we'll be back in January. So from all of us at Sudbury Politics, the Christmas special, have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we'll see you in the new year.
And Santa's doing pictures at the Alibi Room in 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah,
so.
we'll see you there.
Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, oh, oh.